We all know the story. Women earn less than men for the same work. This narrative has been repeated for decades, shaping how we think about fairness and opportunity in the workplace. It's a story that's become almost automatic, woven into our understanding of what it means to strive for equality. It's a powerful narrative that's shaped policy and debate, influencing everything from government regulations to company initiatives. Laws have been passed, and organizations have launched programs to close the gap, all based on the idea that women are consistently shortchanged. But what if that's not the whole story? In some industries, men, despite working longer hours and taking on more tasks, end up earning less per unit of effort. These are fields where the traditional pay gap narrative doesn't quite fit, and the reality is more complex than we might expect. This isn't about dismissing women's challenges or denying the progress that still needs to be made. Instead, it's about adding a missing chapter to the pay equity conversation, one that recognizes the experiences of men who find themselves on the other side of the gap. Let's look beyond the headlines and dig into the real dynamics of compensation. When we examine the data closely, we see that pay equity is not a one-size-fits-all issue. The numbers reveal hidden patterns that challenge our assumptions. In certain roles, men's extra hours and responsibilities go uncompensated, flipping the familiar pay gap script. These men often take on overtime, cover additional shifts, or handle tasks outside their job descriptions. Yet their pay doesn't always reflect this extra effort. The idea that men could be on the losing end of a pay gap sounds counterintuitive, but the data is starting to show it. In some sectors, men are quietly facing their own version of pay inequity, often without the same level of public attention or advocacy. This is about hidden hours, extra duties, and uncompensated effort, especially in tech, healthcare, and education. These are jobs where the demands are high, and the expectation to go above and beyond is often unspoken but very real. We'll explore why this happens, from overtime pressures to breadwinner expectations. Social norms and workplace cultures can push men to take on more, sometimes at the expense of their own well-being and without fair compensation. Ultimately, understanding all forms of pay inequity helps us build workplaces that truly reward everyone's contributions. When we recognize the full spectrum of experiences, we can create policies and cultures that value fairness for all. Only then can we move past simplistic narratives and create a more just environment for all, one where every hour, every effort, and every person is valued equally. The statistic you hear most: women earn about 82 cents for every dollar a man earns. But this raw pay gap is a broad average. It doesn't compare people in the same job, with the same experience, at the same company. It reflects differences in job types, hours worked, and career choices, not just pay for equal work. When economists control for these factors, the gap shrinks dramatically, sometimes to just a few cents. This suggests much of the raw gap is about deeper issues like career paths and work-life choices. But even the controlled gap misses something crucial: actual workload. Two people with the same title might have wildly different responsibilities and hours. Their salaries might match, but is their compensation truly equal for their effort? This is the missing piece we need to examine. To see real fairness, we need a new lens: pay per workload. It's not just about salary or job title, but how much you're paid for each unit of work you produce. For a developer, it could be salary per feature shipped. For a nurse, pay per patient cared for. If two employees have the same salary, but one works 25% more hours or handles 30% more projects, their effective wage is lower. This hidden disparity often affects those pressured to take on more. The question isn't just, are men and women paid the same for the same job? But, are they compensated equally for the same output? In many cases, men are putting in more hours and effort for less paper workload. It's a measurable phenomenon that deserves attention. Tech is often hailed as one of the most forward-thinking industries, a place where innovation and progress are the norm. But beneath the surface, it's a prime example of the workload-adjusted pay gap, a gap that's rarely discussed, yet impacts thousands of workers every day. Male engineers frequently find themselves clocking in longer hours, taking on high-pressure hero tasks, and being the ones who are on call during nights and weekends. The expectation to always be available is unspoken, but very real. Many feel compelled to volunteer for the most challenging assignments, believing that this extra effort will lead to recognition, promotions, or bonuses. The pressure to prove themselves can be intense, especially in competitive teams. Imagine a scenario where a man works 55 hours a week, while his female colleague works 40. Both receive the same salary, but the man is putting in 15 extra hours that go unpaid and often unnoticed. That's 15 hours of unpaid labor every week. When you break it down, his pay per hour is actually lower than his colleagues, despite the perception that he's earning more. Tech culture often glorifies the always-on employee, the one who stays late, answers emails at midnight, and never seems to take a break. Men, conditioned by society to be providers and to go the extra mile, are especially vulnerable to falling into this trap. Instead of being compensated for their extra effort, these employees are often rewarded with verbal praise, a pat on the back, or a team player badge, rarely with proportional pay or time off. The result? Even in male-dominated fields, men can be systematically undercompensated for the sheer amount of work they do. Burnout and exhaustion become common, but the paychecks stay the same. Companies may proudly tout their pay equity statistics, but often overlook the hidden cost of extra unpaid labor extracted from their most dedicated employees, especially men who feel obligated to over-deliver. This isn't just a question of who works harder. It's about how workplace expectations and compensation systems fail to accurately reflect the true output and effort of their employees. The end result is clear. Men who write more code, fix more bugs, or take on more late-night emergencies for the same salary are actually earning less per unit of work than their peers. This is the hidden pay gap, one that's measured not just in dollars, but in hours, energy, and well-being. In healthcare, especially nursing, men often take on the toughest tasks and more overtime. Male nurses are called for heavy lifting or difficult patients, but rarely get extra pay for these duties. They work more night shifts and holidays, feeling pressured to be the workhorse or provider. Their annual pay might be slightly higher due to overtime, but their effective wage per hour or per patient is often lower. The same happens with male doctors. More patients, more complex cases, but not always more pay. Group practices may pool revenue, so extra effort isn't fully rewarded. Societal expectations and workplace culture push men to absorb more work, often without realizing they're undercompensated. Their willingness to take on more becomes expected, not rewarded. The result: more work for the same or less money. In education, men are a minority, especially in elementary and middle schools. This leads to unwritten expectations. Male teachers handle discipline, coach sports, move furniture, and set up events, often without extra pay. A male teacher might spend 5 to 10 extra hours a week on these tasks, while his female colleague isn't expected to. Both earn the same salary, but the man's workload is much higher. The district pays for teaching, not for the unpaid roles men are expected to fill. Administrators see male teachers as role models, or better suited for physical tasks, assigning them extra duties. Most accept these roles without complaint, not realizing they're being undercompensated. The result: a hidden pay gap of effort, not salary. For every paid hour, male teachers give away significant time and skill for free. Men earning less per unit of work isn't a conspiracy. It's the result of social and economic forces. Societal expectations push men to accept jobs with more overtime or physical demands, prioritizing income over balance. Compensation systems focus on job titles and hours, not the true intensity or volume of work. Men, socialized to be workhorses, absorb extra tasks without complaint or formal recognition. Many try to advance by overworking, hoping sweat equity leads to promotion, but this often just devalues their time. Men are less likely to negotiate for flexibility or set boundaries. ending up with higher, unpredictable workloads for the same pay. The result? Lower paper effort, driven by culture and outdated systems. Realizing you're underpaid for your workload is step one, and it's a crucial moment of self-awareness. Many people ignore that nagging feeling, but acknowledging it is the first step toward change. It's not just about money, it's about respect for your time and effort. Step two is advocating for yourself. This means being proactive, not waiting for someone else to notice your hard work. You have to be your own champion in the workplace. Start by tracking your work, hours, outputs, extra duties, and even the small wins that often go unnoticed. Keep a detailed record of your contributions, from major projects to the daily tasks that keep things running smoothly. This data turns vague feelings into concrete evidence. Numbers and facts are hard to dispute, and they give you a solid foundation for any conversation about your value. Use it in performance reviews. Say, "I'm handling 30% more projects than others at my level. Let's discuss compensation." Be specific and confident, showing exactly how you go above and beyond. Negotiate not just for salary, but for workload balance. Ask for clarity on expectations, and don't be afraid to request adjustments if your workload is unsustainable. Ask about hours, on-call duty, and the flexibility you need to maintain your well-being. Set boundaries before accepting a role. Make sure you understand what's expected and that it aligns with your own priorities and limits. True compensation is salary plus a reasonable workload. Benefits, flexibility, and respect for your time all matter. Don't overlook the value of a healthy work-life balance. Sometimes a lower salary with better balance is worth more. Shift your mindset. Think about what truly matters to you, not just the number on your paycheck. Value efficiency, not just long hours. Productivity isn't about being the last to leave, it's about making the most impact in the time you have. The most valuable employee isn't the one who stays latest, but the one who delivers results efficiently and consistently. Results matter more than hours. When you deliver quality work, you prove your worth. By valuing your own time, you set a standard for others and encourage a healthier workplace culture. You teach others to do the same, creating an environment where everyone's contributions are recognized. Data-driven negotiation and self-advocacy are key to fair pay for your real contribution. Don't be afraid to speak up for what you deserve. Don't just accept the default. Make your value visible and take control of your career path. This isn't about replacing one victim narrative with another. It's about recognizing that unfair systems can harm everyone. Focusing only on the raw gender pay gap misses these subtler, but real, forms of inequity. True fairness means rewarding every worker in proportion to their contribution and effort. By highlighting how men can be undercompensated, we open the door to better solutions for all. Companies can develop smarter metrics, reward efficiency, and foster cultures where everyone can set healthy boundaries. When men use data to argue for fair pay, it sets a precedent for women to do the same. Fairness isn't zero-sum. Our goal: a world where every contribution is seen, measured, and valued. Only then is compensation truly tied to contribution, a reality for everyone.